Paris in the fall, the last months of the year and the end of the millennium. As I picked myself up, the menu was limited. It read, "No food today." I didn't care. I'd lost my appetite somewhere over the Irish Sea. It was a trap door in the sidewalk. I tugged at the... Hi there.
What?
What's your name, kid?
Who are you calling kid? Who the hell are you?
Rosso's the name. Murder's my game.
Are you a detective?
Let's just say I'm here to find the truth.
Cool. Just like on the telly.
Cut the crap and tell me your name.
Liam McGuire.
What are you doing hanging around the bar, McGuire?
I'm on the run. From me dad.
Why? Did you do something bad?
I ain't done nothing, boss.
You can tell me, kid. Is it your dad?
Oh, sir. He drinks every last penny down his evil throat. And there's me poor old mother, bedridden and dying of presumption. I tried to buy her medicine. Chopped firewood for Father Mahoney till me fingers bled. The old skinflint cheated me too, but I took the pennies he gave me back home. Look, Ma, says I, see what your darling son has earned with his own sweat and blood. When suddenly, me dad appears and grabs the loot. I'm off to Dublin heavy drinking, says he. Watch out till I get back. That's why I runned away.
Something in the grin on his face told me he wasn't being strictly truthful. Compared to him, Huckleberry Finn was a candidate for Altar Boy of the Year. Do you know a man called Pegram?
Can you describe him like on the telly in the cop shows?
He's an English archaeologist.
I know the man you mean if he's the one.
Can you tell me where I'd find Pegram?
No, I can't, 'cause he's not here now, but if I sees him, I'll ask him.
Do you know what Pegram was doing in the castle?
Digging for buried treasure. Jewels and gold and skeletons, like in the films.
Do you know anything about Pegram's dig?
He wouldn't let me anywhere near it. I offered to help, but he chased me off. I didn't want to see his smelly old hole anyhow.
Did anyone from the village work at the dig?
Pegram brought some students and bums with him. He reckoned no one in Lochmarn would know what to look for. The only local guy who worked for him was Sean Fitzgerald.
What does this Fitzgerald guy look like?
Big head, big ears, and face irons.
What?
You know, spectacles, glasses. He's blind as a bat without him.
What can you tell me about the castle, McGuire?
What do you want to know?
Well, can I get inside?
No, it's locked up.
Does anyone live there?
No, only...
What?
Oh, nothing.
You know something about the castle you're not telling me, don't you?
No,
What is it you're covering up? Is it something you're scared of?
I ain't scared of nothing.
I'll give you one last chance to tell me about the castle.
Oh, yeah? And what if I don't?
Then I'm taking you back to school.
Oh, there's a ghost. It's called the Phantom of Lochmarn.
You're not telling me you believe in ghosts, are you?
Mister, I seen it with me very own eyes. Last Tuesday night, I went up to see what that dig was about. I just reached the top of the wall when I hears this awful noise.
What sort of noise?
A horrible snuffling and snorting, like O'Brien's pig, only worst. It was coming from inside the castle.
Did you find out what was making the noise in the castle?
No fear. I just sat there on the wall like Humpty Dumpty. The moon was cracked and greasy like an old dinner plate. The yard was full of shadows. I could have been hiding anything. I would have gone home, but me legs had lost their stuffing.
Did you get to see the ghost?
Indeed I did. And a fearsome sight it is too. I sat on my arse, waited while the moon went down. Then out it comes from the shadows, all grey and tattered and hunched over like an old bent willow. Then I hears this spluttering and splashing and horrible laughter in the dark. I was so scared. Why, I fell off the bloody wall.
I'm sure there's a rational explanation for what you saw at the castle.
There is. The bloody place is haunted.
Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
Here in Lochmarn, they all dress like clowns.
The man I'm looking for is a dangerous psychotic.
Jesus. It's just like that film I saw. There's this clown, see, and he's after this kid who saw him kill a guy. He tries to warn the sheriff, only no one believes him. Then, while he's in the tub, the clown cuts him up with a chainsaw.
My God, that doesn't sound suitable for a kid like you.
Who are you calling a kid? I'm 25.
Yeah, right. You're not a day over 14.
Oh no, it's 25 that I am. Married with a car and 3 kids. 10 kids if you count the wives.
Have you ever seen this man before?
What a slimy character. No, I never seed him.
Do you recognize this matchbook, McGuire?
No, sir, I never seed it before in my life.
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
What?
I need to speak with you urgently.
What's the problem?
Can I get you another drink?
Oh, no, thank you. I shouldn't be drinking at all. I'm on tablets for my nerves. More than a pint and I'll pass out.
Did you work at Professor Pegram's dig?
What gave you that idea?
McGuire says you did.
You don't believe that damned hooligan, do you?
Why not?
His probation officer could tell you a tale or two.
Have you heard about the gem which Pegram found?
I heard a rumour, but you can't believe everything you hear or see, can you?
Where can I find Professor Pegram?
I heard he's gone fishing. I don't know where.
What can you tell me about the castle?
There's nothing there, just an old ruin.
How old?
I really couldn't tell you.
Have you ever explored the castle yourself?
I used to play there sometimes, when I was a kid. Then one of the little uns fell off the wall, broke his head and died. We didn't go there anymore.
You haven't been up there recently?
No.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, at least I don't think so.
Look closely. He has a scar on his face.
No, I'm sure I don't know him.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No.
See you later. The man's arm lay across the towel, preventing me from moving it. I was about to reach for the pump when I came to my senses. A rash move like that in a strange country with strange customs could be my last. Top of the morning to you.
I beg your pardon.
Well, that's what you Irish say, isn't it?
Do you want something? Or are you just flaunting your xenophobia?
Well, I was trying to be sociable.
Is it a room you're after?
That's not a bad idea. Do you have a vacancy?
I could, if you don't mind waiting until the last guest checks out.
No problem. When will that be?
When the undertaker comes to collect him.
Do you know Sean Fitzgerald very well?
I know him enough not to sell him more than 2 pints. He's like a kid when he gets a few beers inside him.
I'm not surprised. He's on medication for his nerves.
There's nothing wrong with his nerves. He's just screwy.
Do you know a man called Pegram?
Indeed I do. Are you a friend of his, by any chance?
In a manner of speaking, I am.
Right, me boyo, 160 quid he owes me, pay up.
That's Pegram's business, not mine.
Ah, but he's done a bunk, hasn't he? Scampered.
I know. That's why I'm here, to look for him.
And what about the money he owes me?
When I find him, I'll remind him about it. Did Pegram stay here?
Yes, he did. 6 nights plus breakfast.
He couldn't have had breakfast this morning. Not unless he had it afore he went to bed.
What the hell are you talking about, Doyle?
The history fella. I seen him this morning, crack of dawn. I had to get up at 4 o'clock to see to the missus.
I didn't know your wife was sick, Pat.
She's not. Anyhow, I went out to empty the bucket, and what do you think I saw?
For the love of God, Doyle, get to the point.
It was the history man, heading out to the village, on a bicycle.
I knew it. Hand over me money, or I'll throw you out.
Can I see Peagram's room?
It's been taken by one of the brothers from the reformatory. They come every year for spiritual refreshment.
That's a good one. Their idea of refreshment is a gutful of stout.
I wouldn't want to disturb a man of God, especially not a big fella from the bad boys' home.
I don't blame you, Mick. That brother's got muscles like a muscle man.
Have you served any, clowns recently?
Don't change the subject. Are you going to pay me Peagram's rent or not?
No way. Listen, I'm not really his friend. I've never even met the guy. But I need to find Peagram urgently. I think his life is in danger.
Damn right it is.
Excuse me for butting in, Michael, but I think the young fella's telling the truth.
I'm sorry I bit your head off, sir.
Well, that's okay, I understand. I guess. I'll try a glass of beer, please.
Is this your first pint of real ale?
Well, I guess so. What's real ale, anyhow?
Beer that's brewed from natural ingredients to traditional methods. It shouldn't be kept under pressure or refrigerated. And finally, it should have a good body and distinctive character.
In other words, it's flat and worn with bits in, and it makes you fall over.
What can you tell me about the castle?
You're the second person to ask me that today. I don't know anything about the castle. It's only an old ruin anyway.
Who else was asking about the castle?
He said he was a reporter. He was asking about the little people.
I could have told him a tale or two about the little people. He might have paid me to hear what he wanted me to say.
Anyway, I chucked him out on his arse.
Good for you, Mick. That's the way to deal with journalists.
Have you served any,
No, you're the first today.
Seriously, I'm looking for a man dressed in a clown costume.
Would he be having a little white dog with a black patch over the eye?
I shouldn't think so. Do you recognize this man?
No, I don't. What do you want with him?
I've got a score to settle.
I don't want any trouble in the bar, mister. If it's a fight you're looking for, see Father Mahoney.
A priest? A man of the cloth?
Sure, and he teaches the boys how to box at the youth club. According to Mahoney, it develops character. Isn't that right, Pat? Didn't he teach you the art of pugilism? Doyle.
Sorry, Michael. I was miles away. What did you say?
Never mind.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
No, sir.
Thanks. Somehow, I'd managed to drink the thick, sweet brew. I felt strangely compelled to order another, even though my every instinct warned me against it. The man's arm lay across. As the man raised his arm to drink, I snatched the towel away. I felt Hi there, old-timer. What? Nasty cold you've got there. As soon as the words left my lips, I regretted them.
Is there such a thing as a cold which isn't nasty? I put the question to Father Mahoney. Father, says I, why were we born to suffer snot?
What did he say?
He said, it's my reward for being out all night like a sinner. Pious prig. Anyway, this is no ordinary cold. 'Tis the hay fever.
Pollinosis?
Thank you. You're not a policeman, are you?
Excuse me?
Police? No, I'd know it if you were.
Can I buy you a beer?
Very kind, I'm sure, but I don't drink the stuff Leary sells.
What's wrong with it?
I've seen what it can do.
Can you tell me how to get into the castle?
Don't even think about it, me bucko. Lochmarn Castle is haunted.
That's what the kid outside told me, but I don't believe it.
Then you're a fool.
Do you know Pegram, the archaeologist?
That's the scrawny fellow who was poking around at the castle, isn't it? No, I don't know him.
Were you aware that Pegram was conducting an archaeological dig?
I don't meddle in other people's affairs. They don't interest me.
Do you know where I can find Pegram?
I told you, I never heard of him.
Ghosts don't bother me. I still want to visit that castle.
You can't. It's not open to the public.
There's no one around to stop me, is there?
That's right. Nothing human, anyhow.
Have you ever seen the ghost?
To be sure, with me very own eyes.
Can you describe the ghost?
It was horrible. A wee stunted beast, long beak, straggly, flappy wings.
Are you sure it wasn't a wild animal? A rabbit or a skunk or something?
Skunk? In Lochmarn? That'll be the day. No, that was a ghost, to be sure.
I think I know what you saw on the castle wall.
I know what I saw.
I don't think so. It was the kid, McGuire.
What?
He was up on the wall last Tuesday night. He thought you were the Phantom of Lochmarn.
Oh!
Could you use this towel?
I could.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Is that supposed to be you?
No, I don't have a scar on my face and I'm not from the Middle East.
I can't tell without me glasses.
What does this matchbook mean to you?
Nothing. Go away and stop bothering me.
I'll see you later.
Hey, where do you think you're going?
Excuse me?
No customers behind the bar. Ever. Get out.
Hello.
Sorry to... Hello there. My name's George Stobart.
Pleased to meet you, I'm sure. I'm O'Brien. Can I help you?
Do you know where I can find Pegram?
You're too late to meet that fella.
Is he dead?
Not that, but he's gone from the village. A sore point with our esteemed host, I might add.
Why has Pegram's departure upset the landlord?
He's lost a paying guest, that's why. More than that, there's the question of an unsettled bill. Poor Michael's seen red over the business, and I don't blame him.
Can you tell me more about the landlord?
Mick Leary? He's what you call a would-be sophisticate. The trouble is, his idea of sophistication extends as far as putting paper in the lavatory.
I never worked out why he did that. It's much too dark in there to read.
That's true. Have you ever run your hand over the back of the door? The graffiti is written in Braille.
Do you know where Pegram has gone?
I'm sorry, but I don't. He upped anchor in the dark and shipped out before the dawn.
Why did he do that?
Who knows? A guilty conscience or a secret assignation. Whatever the reason, he'll not be missed in Lochmarn. Maybe now the fuss about the gem has died down, we can get back to normal.
What can you tell me about the gem which Pegram found?
Now there's a gem which should never have been taken. A man would have to be full of greed to covet that stone. What's your interest in the jewel? You're not a reporter, are you?
Oh, no.
Thank the Lord for that.
What can you tell me about the castle, Mr. O'Brien?
It's a fine sight now, isn't it? Dates back to the 10th century, you know. Most of the existing building was added much later, of course.
Are the ruins open to the public?
Oh no, it's much too dangerous. Anyway, there's nothing of interest remaining.
Pegram thought otherwise, didn't he?
Ah, but it's not difficult to get them history boys excited, is it? Give them a bone to play with, and they're happy as puppies.
Was it Pegram who dug up the tripod at the castle?
The same man, if he wasn't his twin brother. And can you guess what he did with the tripod?
He sent it to a museum in Paris. I've seen it. Have you heard of the Phantom?
More than that. I've seen it. And let me tell you, it's a dreadful spectacle.
So it's not just a local legend. There really is a Phantom of Lochmarn.
Oh, no. I was talking about the Phantom of the Opera.
Goodbye for now. Hi, my name's Stobart, George Stobart.
Hello there, mister. What can I do for you?
Do you know Professor Pegram?
Do I know him? Do I know the good professor himself? No, I don't. I mean, I know who he is, but I don't know him to talk to.
Do you know anything about Pegram's excavation?
Only that he didn't have the right tools for the job. What he needed was shovels and a JCB.
Pegram was digging for historical remains, not coal.
Is that a fact? What the hell for?
Here's the science of archaeology part. Understanding how people used to live by what they've left behind. One day archaeologists might be digging up our remains.
Imagine that, Mr. O'Brien. I wonder what they'll find.
Well, it won't be arrowheads and beakers. Fast food cartons and flavoured condoms, more likely.
Is it true that Pegram found a valuable gem?
What? First I heard of it.
Where have you been, Pat? That gem is the talk of every town from Lochmarn to Ballydoon.
Nobody told me. The lucky sod. So that's why he scampered.
Did anyone from the village work at Pegram's dig?
I tried it myself, but that high and mighty history man called me incontinent. What a nerve. Hadn't I dug more holes than the rest of them put together?
Do you remember seeing Sean Fitzgerald at the dig?
Let me see now. I think me brain box needs a spot of lubrication.
Can I buy you a drink?
You most certainly can.
Give me a drink for my friend here.
Who, Doyle? Has he conned you into buying for him? Shame on you, Patrick.
Same again. Just a point this time, Michael.
1 point of brown coming up.
Can you tell me anything about the castle on the hill?
Oh, I don't know much about anything. You should ask Mr. O'Brien here. He does joined up writing. Would you be one of them history fellas yourself?
That's right. Professor Stobart, Miskatonic University.
You're an archaeologist, and you're asking us about the castle.
Excuse me, Mr. O'Brien. The gentleman was talking to me. How come you didn't leave with the others?
I didn't know they'd gone until the landlord told me. Do you remember Sean Fitzgerald now?
I can picture the scene as if it was only last week. Come to think of it, it was only last week. Fitzgerald was there all right. Him and a bunch of students. He was speaking with the boss man.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
It's a handsome mug on that fella, to be sure. Is he a film star?
Don't be fooled. This is the face of a psychopathic killer.
No. Well, there's one in the eye for me and my mouth.
Bye for now.
Hello.
Doyle told me you definitely worked at the dig.
You don't believe him, do you? Patrick Doyle is a moron and a scoundrel.
Even so, he saw you talking to Pegram.
You can't prove that, mister.
See you later. Hey!
Hello there again, mister.
Oh, nothing really. Hi. Do you speak English?
Well, now, what if I was to say no? An implication of cognizance shrouded in denial. A pretty poser of a paradox indeed.
I gave him the look I'd perfected when I was 12 and was going to be the greatest hypnotist of all time. It was a killer.
Are you attempting to hypnotize me, or is it the constipation you're suffering?
I was a little out of practice. Have you seen Professor Pegram?
No, he's packed up and gone.
Do you happen to know where?
Back in England, I suppose.
Good book?
A book? It's a passport to a world of fantasy and imagination.
Yeah, what's the title?
Creative Shelving for Beginners, the 1978 edition.
What's so cool about home improvement?
There's nothing like it. The resinous autumnal aroma of seasoned wood, the rhythmic rasp of the plane. Ah, no wonder our Lord came to earth as the son of a humble carpenter. I bet he was a wizard with a chisel and a length or two before.
Surely the portrayal of Christ's adoptive family as humble artisans is a symbolic metaphor.
I don't know about that, but I know they were carpenters. Haven't you read the book?
Well, no, but I have seen The Greatest Story Ever Told, and I don't recall Jesus putting up any shelves. What can you tell me about the castle?
Not much, I'm sorry to say. Most of its history is long forgotten. Ah, but if these old stones could only speak, what stories they'd tell. Stories to make your toes curl and your blood run cold. You know, this castle is said to be over 600 years old.
Who built the castle?
Mad Phelan, the first Lord of Lochmarn. Well, I say lord, but actually he was little more than a village chieftain. He built his castle from the remains of the Templar preceptory.
Do you think Peagrim's disappearance is due to the curse?
Look at the facts. He dug up the gem, he disappeared, bingo! It doesn't take a degree in mathematics to work that one out, does it? You don't have to be a smarty Pythagoras with a calculator.
I guess not.
Pegram has run off with the gem.
Do you mind if I climb up your haystack to get into the castle?
What? You'd break your stupid neck for sure. Do you think I'd stand by and see your brains dashed out?
I'd be very careful, and I promise not to sue.
You won't get the chance, not while I'm here to stop you.
Where was the site of the Templar preceptory?
Right here on Temple Hill. Phelan built right on top of the old wall. It's said that deep beneath these walls there's a Templar chapel.
Did Pegram discover the chapel?
I don't know. His workers were sworn to secrecy.
Have you any use for this towel?
Whatever gave you that idea?
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, but I wouldn't trust him. His eyes are too close together. He's not a friend of yours, is he?
Oh no, far from it. In fact, I believe it's the face of a killer.
I knew it! Piggy eyes. Can't trust him.
What do you make of this matchbook?
Seems ordinary enough to me.
I have to go now.
Get away, you silly noodle! Can't you see the load's unstable?
Pushing with all my strength got me nowhere. They didn't budge. I really need to start working out. On the back of the cart was a crazily stacked tower of hay bales, leaning precariously against the castle wall. Hey, McGuire.
What do you want to know?
Are you sure Fitzgerald worked at the dig?
Oh, yes. It was him, all right. Would I tell a lie?
Well, he denies it.
I saw them together only last night.
I wish you'd told me that sooner. What were they doing?
Pegram gave Fitzy a box. He didn't look too happy about it.
I knew it. But how am I going to persuade him to part with it?
Break his fingers.
Nah, I couldn't do that.
I could.
Thanks for the offer, kid, but I'll try a more subtle approach.
Chinese burns?
I heard that Pegram had found a legendary gem.
That's right. It's been the talk of Lochman all week.
You haven't seen the gem, have you?
Hell no. I reckon Pegram made off with it. If I was him, I'd go to Amsterdam, chop it up and sell it. He could be living the life of Riley instead of digging holes.
Do you know where I could find Fitzgerald?
He's inside.
How come? Is he drunk?
He's like a frightened rabbit. A real bag of nerves. Why, the fella's scared of his own shadow.
What's Fitzgerald scared of?
Everything and everyone.
So I shouldn't have any trouble getting him to talk.
He's a pushover. But don't scare him too much. Try the soft touch. Butter him up a bit.
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
The drain was covered with an iron grating, through which I could hear the rush and surge of running water. I took hold of the grating and pulled hard, but it didn't move. I tried to use the keys to lever up the grating. I tapped the plastic with the lifting key, but it was too strong to shatter. I tugged at the plastic cover. It was a featureless plastic box. The workman's key was the obvious tool to use to open this trapdoor. It was specifically designed for a job like this. Unfortunately, there weren't any holes in the trapdoor.
Hello.
McGuire says he saw you working at the dig. What's more, he saw you talking with Pegram.
I knew this would happen. I knew I'd get caught. Just my luck. Grassed up by a delinquent and a dimwit.
I need to talk to Professor Pegram, if he's still alive.
What do you mean? Is he in danger?
Yeah, you too, if I'm right.
You're not from the Social Security.
Hell no. What makes you think that?
Well, I was claiming benefit at the same time I was working for Pegram.
I'm not in a position to make judgments, Sean. That's between you and your conscience. All I want is to talk to Pegram about the gem.
But he's not here.
I know that. But he left that package with you, didn't he? So where did Pegram go?
I don't know. I swear it. He came to see me early this morning. Said he was leaving. He asked me to give this package to a guy called Marquet.
What did Pegram find at the castle?
The entrance to an underground chamber. It was filled with earth and rubble, and Pegram had us dig it out. We uncovered a secret room, a hidden chapel.
Did Pegram find the gem in the altar room?
I don't know. He made us leave and wouldn't tell us why. Half an hour later he came out, white as a sheet he was. He closed down the dig and locked up the castle, sent us all away.
From the sound of it, Pegram had discovered more than just the gem. Show me what's in the package, Sean.
I can't do that.
Why not?
I promised the professor.
So what? You didn't have any qualms about your benefit scam. So where's the harm in taking a peek inside Pegram's package?
You don't know these people. I can't. I don't dare.
This is your last chance to show me the package, Fitzgerald. I've been patient with you, but now it's time to kick ass.
But he'll kill me.
Who will?
The man from Paris, Jack Marquet. Pegram told me if I gave him the package unopened, I'd hear no more about it. But if I double-crossed Marquet, I'd be dead.
I'll deal with Jacques Marquet. Give the package to me.
No, why should I trust you? I don't know who to trust anymore. I wish I'd never even heard of the Lochmarn gem. Hey, I just seen a big red...
Get out of here, Maguire. Come back when you're old enough.
What's the lad howling about?
A big red sports car. Sean Fitzgerald's been runned over.
Get out! Noisy little tyke.
Maybe you should send out some medicinal brandy, Michael.
Oh, yes. And who's going to pay for it?
Not me.
Me too, neither.
I was telling the truth about Fitzy, mister.
Okay, calm down. Now tell me what happened.
I was standing here, minding me own business, when I saw this beautiful red sports car coming up over the hill. Would you look at that, says I, and I going over to take a closer look. Next thing, Fitzy comes tearing out of the pub and nearly knocks me on the ass, but the car just flies at him. It was too fast for poor old Fitzy, and into an awful wallop he goes flying up on top. Jesus, says I, I thought he was gonna. Next thing, the driver hops out, and I couldn't believe my eyes. He was dressed like a bloody pixie.
Have you ever seen this man before?
What a slimy cat.
Did this pixie have a scar on his cheek?
I couldn't see. He was wearing a stupid mask. Are you a special agent?
Sorry to disappoint you, kid, but I'm not. Did Fitzgerald drop anything when he was hit?
I didn't see. It all happened so fast.
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
I pushed the switch down, but in doing so it snapped off in my hand. The plastic cover had been smashed by the pixie's car, revealing a switch. I tugged at the trapdoor, but it was locked from the inside. Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
May I have another beer, please?
Certainly, sir. Same again?
Yeah, please. How is this stuff made?
That's the secret of the master brewer, sir. Each barrel is lovingly manhandled in time-honoured fashion, suspended on skillfully tied ropes of the finest hemp, lowered into the cellar utilising the forces of original gravity, like manna from heaven. I'm sorry, but the pump appears to be broken.
I could fix it for you.
I don't think so. This is a job for a professional electrician. Oh well, at least the glass washer is still working. It's not my dear, is it?
It just so happens I'm an electrician. Check out my credentials.
Well, no. Isn't that marvellous? Here's a house bedevilled with faulty wiring of a wayward nature. Here's you, an electric man, with a little plastic card to prove it. I still want to see what you can do before I let you touch me beer pumps. You can make a start on the glass washer. When you finish that, will you take a look at the pumps?
I couldn't see anything obviously wrong with the machine. I figured it must be the wiring. There was nothing physically wrong with the glass washer. There was nothing physically wrong with the glass washer. I used all my knowledge of electrical engineering to examine the plug. Seemed fine to me. It was an electrical plug attached to the glass washer.
Well,
Well, what?
are you going to fix this glass washer or not?
See, there was nothing. Almost as if he'd sensed my intentions, the old derelict snatched the wire from the table. As soon as the old guy looked away, I grabbed his piece of wire. I replaced the fuse with a piece of wire. I knew it was dangerous, but I was desperate enough to disregard everything I knew about standard safety precautions. Excuse me, Mr. Leary. I fixed your glass washer, no problem.
Bingo! And a blessing to all the saints. A free half-pint to that man, on the house. Now, could you take a look at the beer pumps?
Well, I guess so, but I'm not making any promises.
If you can't fix them, I'll have a riot on me hands.
The pumps are in the cellar, right?
That's right. You'll find a flashlight down there somewhere.
What a dumb place to store a flashlight. A dark cellar. The only way I was going to find anything down there was to feel around. I pushed the lever and heard the grating of metal, but nothing appeared to happen. I lifted the trap door, and an overpowering smell of stale beer rose from the cellar below. I looked down on a stone-tiled floor, way too far to jump.
Excuse me.
There was a nasty feeling in my guts I usually associated with light opera. It was Khan. What's the problem?
Did you see what happened here a few minutes ago?
What was that?
A man was involved in an unfortunate accident.
I didn't see anything.
What about the boy?
He doesn't know anything either. The kid, well, you know how it is in these rural communities. Not enough genes to go round. I prayed McGuire had the sense to keep his mouth shut. Was the guy hurt bad?
He's been taken care of, but he thinks he dropped a small parcel. You didn't happen to find it, did you?
If I had, I would have taken it to the police.
Of course. Thank you.
Then I noticed a flash of light, something sparkling beneath the open trap door. It was Peagram's gem, all right. A large, uncut blue stone. As I held it aloft, I realized the fascination it could command. I guess I was already under its spell.
Did you find it?
What?
Whatever you was looking for.
Yeah. Listen, McGuire, I want you to keep this to yourself.
No problemo. Just chuck us up a crate of lager.
No way, you're not old enough.
We can sell it and make some cash.
Forget it, kid. I couldn't betray Mr. Leary's trust.
I could, for sure. That old misery guts deserves it.
If you want to do me a favor, keep a lookout for that guy in the suit.
Okay, but it'll cost you a packet of chips.
Oh, and shout if you see that Ferrari. I searched the trash, but there was nothing useful there. I looked among the cleaning materials, but saw nothing I could use. The faucet creaked, coughed, and spewed out a stream of rusty-colored water. I held the towel under the faucet and soaked it with water. It was the barman's flashlight. It was a large blue gemstone. Hey, McGuire.
What do you want to know?
See you later, kid.
Okay, mister.
Hi, it's me again.
So I see. What now?
Did you happen to see a red sports car down on the road?
I caught a glimpse of a flash of red on the hill and heard the racket. Sure, it was an awful noise. A sports car, you say?
A Ferrari, to be exact.
A racing car? And what was it doing here? The poor fella must have been lost.
The driver of the Ferrari was involved in an accident.
Is that so?
Yeah, he knocked somebody down outside the bar.
What an idiot! How could a thing like that happen?
He was traveling too fast.
So fast he ran right under the car?
I mean, the car was traveling too fast.
But you'd have thought the idiot could have heard it coming.
Maybe you know the guy who was hit by the Ferrari. His name is Sean Fitzgerald.
Oh, I know him all right. That's me nephew, the idiot responsible for the stacking of my hay cart. Was he killed by the car?
Oh no, but he has been abducted.
Well, that's a relief now.
Aren't you going to look for your nephew?
What for? From what you say, it's too late.
Well, you could report the matter to the police.
Better not. Besides, what could they do?
Well, they could mount a search.
They have only the one bicycle between them. In a question of superior acceleration, I put me money on the Ferrari.
I think you ought to know exactly what Sean has gotten himself into.
I'm not sure I want to know.
But you're his uncle, his own flesh and blood.
You're right, but what can I do? If I'm not here to guard it, some idiot might try to climb the haystack. What a moral dilemma. Stay here and guard this potentially lethal agricultural construction, or to go off in search of the prodigal nephew, the very man responsible for said hazard? It'll need some thinking about.
Why, there's no problem.
You're right. Why didn't I think of it before? We'll demolish the haystack.
You don't have to demolish the haystack to go look for Sean. I'll stay here in your place and warn anyone who's silly enough to climb it.
Marvellous! I think I should start me inquiries in the bar.
He strode off in the direction of McDevitt's bar, leaving me to contemplate the stack of hay. The stack of hay stopped short of the top of the wall. Even if I stretched as far as I could, the wall was out of reach. What I needed was a slice or two of Alice's Wonderland. I inserted the end of the lifting key in the mortarless crack and gave it a firm shove. It remained lodged in the wall, jutting out to form a step. It was the fiercest, meanest-looking old goat I'd ever laid eyes upon. "Hey, Billy!" The animal fixed on me with an evil glare. Behind the malice and resentment, there was a cool intelligence. "How you doing, boy?" I felt as threatened as I'd been by the assassin and his goons in Paris. It was a rusted piece of iron, maybe part of a plow or something. It was a rust. It was a rusted. "Hey, Billy!" The goat responded with a cool. "Hey, Billy!" The goat. The rope by which the goat was tethered had become tangled on the old plowshare. As I dipped my fingers into the soft white powder, I realized what it was. Plaster of Paris. I'd used it in kindergarten to make casts of animal paw prints. I reached. The only object on the. I tried in vain to move the panel. I placed my fingers and thumb into the holes in the wall. Nothing happened. There was a pattern of 5 holes arranged on the wall. They'd been drilled there deliberately. That... The towel had dried out and was barely damp. It was a handful of plaster left in the castle by Pegram's archaeology team. The matchbook, it was a large blue... I held the... The towel was soaked through with water. I placed my fingers and thumb into the holes in the wall. Nothing. The statue was too heavy to lift. It overbalanced into the sand. As I swung the stone upright, I noticed it had left a pattern of holes in the sand. I sprinkled the plaster on the sand until the holes were filled. I squeezed the towel. I squeezed the towel as hard as I could, but it was The towel was already as wet as it was going to. I squeezed the towel as hard as I could, but it was barely damp. I the The trickle of water was quickly absorbed by the plaster. I eased the solid piece of plaster from the sand. Underneath, it had formed a perfect copy of the statue. The hardened plaster cast fitted snugly into the 5 matching sockets. There was a soft thud, then silence.
So, where did you stay last night?
At McDevitt's. I got to drinking with Doyle and a couple of the guys.
That explains why you look so ill today. Did you get any sleep at all?
Not much. I had to share the room with another guy.
Did he snore?
Hardly. He was dead. Then Leary woke me in the middle of the night to help bail out the cellar.
The cellar was flooded?
Yeah, some idiot had left the faucet running.
And you say Pegram has disappeared?
Without a trace. But my visit wasn't a complete waste of time.
Pegram's gem?
The Templars gem. Whoever Jacques Marquet is, he's in for a disappointment.
Jacques Marquet?
He's the guy who should have collected the gem from Fitzgerald.
What are your plans?
I want to find out who, what, or where Montfaucon was. All I've got to go by is the name and a picture of a hanged man. Do you want to look after the gem?
No, Georges. I'd be too tempted to sell it.
Look, Nico, a handful of plaster.
Yeah. Why is it that men never really grow up?
What's your problem, sister?
Your pockets stuffed with useless junk like little boys.
You never know when useless junk might come in handy. The guy at the novelty shop gave me this.
What is it?
A hand buzzer. You put it in your hand and give people electric shocks.
Why?
It's a gag, a practical joke.
If you ever use it on me, I'll break your arm.
Okay. I get the picture. Did I show you this map?
Huh?
I found this in the killer's room.
What is it? A credit card?
ID, Thomas Merlin, of the Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Never heard of him or the company.
Let's take another look at the manuscript. That's the gem that Pegram found in Lochmarn. That's the tripod in the Croon Museum. There's a woman looking, but the reflection... I can't sit here all day, much as I'd like to.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lobinor at the Croon Museum. And why don't you see if Rosso has heard anything?
Okay. Anything else I can do for you while I'm out? Shopping, a trip to the laundromat?
Just take care of yourself.
Excuse me.
Ah, Monsieur Stobart, n'est-ce pas?
That's correct. You remember me.
The retention of such data is part of my duty as a gendarme. That is how crime is fought, through attention to detail, not intuition.
Yes, sure. Have you heard of a man called Marquet?
Yes. He used to be known as the Mole of Montmartre. I heard he's been hospitalized, probably by one of his rivals.
Which hospital was Marquet taken to?
The Hagenmeyer Clinic, in the Avenue des Hérissons.
Why was Marquet known as the Mole of Montmartre?
Because he lived in Montmartre, I suppose.
Yeah, but why the mole?
I don't know. Maybe he ruined people's lawns.
I'd like to report an assault.
Yes, monsieur? Where is the victim?
I'm the victim. I've been harassed by a pair of thugs.
I see. And where did this alleged assault take place?
Outside the Hotel Ubu. They stopped me as I was leaving and went through my pockets.
Could you describe the suspects, monsieur?
One looked like a gorilla, and the other looked like a weasel. Their names are Flap and Guido.
Bon, I'll get them this time.
Do you know a man named Khan? He's a shifty-looking guy with a scar on his left cheek.
No, monsieur. Has this man any connection with the bombing of the cafe?
Yes. I believe Khan was the name he used when he hired the clown costume. Is Rosso here?
Yes, he is. You wish to speak to him?
Yes, I do.
One moment, monsieur. Stobart is here to see you, monsieur.
Did he say what it was about?
No, monsieur.
Very well.
Hi, Inspector. Remember me?
But of course, Mr. Stobart, my mind is a well-ordered faculty. A mental classification system that's the envy of the Bibliothèque Nationale. No tricks, mark you, monsieur. Just exercise. Just as our muscles waste through inactivity, so our minds decay. But there is no need, if only people would learn to exercise their wits daily.
If he was trying to impress me, it worked. He was pompous and patronizing, but he had style.
Eh bien, if you called about the bombing, you're too late. Investigations have been closed.
But
I have been taken off the case.
what about the murderer, the dead guy?
It is out of my hands.
Ever heard of a guy called Marquet? Jacques Marquet?
Marquet, I know the name well. He has a record for suspected blackmail, kidnapping, arson, and art theft.
An all-rounder, huh? How come he's on the loose?
His bravado is matched only by the courtroom skills of his attorney.
Have you heard of Professor Pegram, the archaeologist?
Molly Pegram, the second son of Lord Barclay Pegram.
I don't know. I only read about him in a magazine.
So much for the efficacy of rehabilitation. What has he done this time?
He made an important archaeological find in Ireland. Do you know Pegram well?
I have connections with the family, but I wouldn't say I knew him at all.
Is his name really Molly?
Of course not. That was the nickname he was given at school. All his friends and acquaintances know him as Molly.
Don't you want to know what I found out about the killer?
I told you, monsieur, the case is closed. I have washed my hands of the whole affair.
Then I'll have to continue my investigations without your help.
No, you must forget the business of the clown completely. Go back to being an ordinary tourist, Stobart.
Do you know a pair of thugs called Flap and Guido?
I have known those two since they graduated from special school. Flap is a nasty piece of work, but Guido is the real brains of the partnership. Where did you hear of them?
I met them out front of the Hotel Ubu. Did you find out the ID of the guy who was killed in the explosion?
I already knew who he was.
I heard that the bomb victim's name was Plantar.
Your sources are reliable.
He was a big shot at the Treasury, wasn't he? Maybe that's why you've been taken off the case.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I cannot comment.
What was that psycho-detective business you did in the cafe?
It is my theory that the passions evoked in violent crimes create ripples in the ether, invisible to all but the possessor of a highly developed and receptive mind.
I'm impressed. Can you bend spoons, too?
I didn't think a man of your obvious intelligence would stoop to mockery.
I'm not mocking. I've had personal experience of the power of the mind. I used to get ignored at parties until I read a book that changed my life.
Really? What was it called?
Hypnotism for Fun and Profit. He looked at me as if I'd farted at a funeral.
The power of mesmerism is a rare gift, not a party trick.
You're not going to try any of that psychic interrogation on me, are you?
Do you find the thought of my probing distasteful?
Let's just say I'd rather you didn't. I've got more doubts than Doubting Thomas when it comes to mysticism.
Too bad. I think you would make an interesting subject under controlled regression.
The day I let anyone mess with my mind hasn't dawned yet. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No.
It's the face of a killer.
The man who bombed the cafe?
The photograph was taken soon after the explosion. He'd escaped through the sewers, leaving a trail of clues behind him.
Circumstantial evidence, Stobbard. None of it proves a thing.
Would you care to shake my hand, Inspector?
Please don't be offended if I decline your offer, Stobbard. The palms of my hands are particularly sensitive.
So long, Inspector. Excuse me.
What do you want now?
What are you going to do about Flap and Guido, Sergeant?
I'm going to bust them, monsieur. For years I have been hoping to pin something on that pair. Now's my chance. I'll show them, and the inspector.
Thanks, Sergeant. Thanks for taking me seriously.
I'm only doing my duty, monsieur.
See you later, Sergeant. The old building managed to retain some of its original grandeur, but the modern additions looked like a baseball cap on a statue of a medieval saint. I felt a little guilty as I tried the door, like I was about to rob a grave. I gripped the handle with an involuntary tremble in my hand and pulled. The door was locked. There was no sign of the crew of the ambulance. Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Pleased to meet you, sir.
Call me George if you like.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's my name.
My name's Benoit, but everyone calls me Bunny.
Bunny?
That's right. I used to have this cute habit when I was a kid.
Keep it to yourself, Benoit. Do you know anything about a patient named Marquet?
No, sir, I don't know much about any of the patients.
I've never met a doctor who admits that he's only human.
I'm only a trainee, sir. I'm sure I'll get the hang of things.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Merlin?
No, sir.
Does this false nose mean it?
No.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur.
See you later.
Right.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Is this the Hagenmeyer Clinic?
That's correct.
I thought I was in a garden center.
Oh, the plans. They were my idea. A little greenery to evoke the spirit of nature. How may I help you?
I'm here to see Jacques Marquet.
Oh, yes. Are you related to our client, sir?
No, I'm conducting a private investigation.
Then I can't help you.
Look at this ID pass.
So you're Merlin. Marquet's been asking for you.
For me?
Yes. He was shouting your name when they brought him in here. Now, let me see. He was on Ward B12, as I recall. Oh, he's being transferred to... Oh dear. He's on Ward J2. That's Nurse Grendel's ward.
What's so bad about Nurse Grendel?
She runs that ward like a South American prison.
Keeping a well-disciplined ward isn't a crime, is it?
Well-disciplined. In the discipline and punishment stakes, she'd whip the butt off the Marquis de Sade. Everything, I mean everything, is done to a strict routine. 6 o'clock alarm call, 6:10 bowel movements, and woe betide anyone who doesn't have a result. Those patients of hers are like Pavlova's dogs.
She sounds like a real nightmare.
And then some.
If Nurse Grendel is that bad, how come the authorities tolerate her?
She's like part of the furniture.
Oh, you mean she's been here a long time?
No, I mean there's not a man in this clinic who hasn't sprawled out on her.
I was beginning to get the picture. This woman was jealous, with a big green capital J. How do I find Nurse Grendel's ward?
Down the corridor on the left, turn right at the senior consultant's washroom. Right again at the executive coffee lounge. Bear left past the administrator's sauna. And turn left at the end. That's J2. And good luck.
Thanks for your help, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Really? If you wish to make an appointment, see the receptionist.
Thanks for your help.
As I turned the corner, I saw the source of the hellish noise which echoed through the corridors. It was an industrial polishing machine with an odd-looking guy in tow.
Hello.
What's that?
I said hello.
Oh, hiya.
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
That's what I thought you said. Don't look so down in the mouth. No matter how bad things seem, I never let life get on top of me.
Oh, yeah? What's your secret?
Why, it's easy. All you have to do is smile and whistle this little tune.
You know what? If you start whistling, I'll bust you in the teeth.
It's a deal.
Do you know a nurse called Grendel?
Sure I do.
Is she on duty today?
Yeah, end of the corridor, ward J2.
Do you know where I'd find a patient called Marquet?
No, I'm not allowed on the wards with Mr. Shiny.
See you later.
Yeah, take care now.
Hello.
Oh, hi. No whistling, right?
Right. Would Mr. Shiny be your polishing machine by any chance?
Please, don't call him that. He's more of a friend than a machine. I've had Mr. Shiny for 3 years and he's never let me down once.
How come you got so attached to a polishing machine?
I asked you not to call him that. He's got a name, you know.
Yeah, Mr. Shiny. It's just that...
You think it's odd, don't you?
No,
I don't mind. The rest of the staff think I'm twisted. I heard them snorking behind me back when I gave Mr. Shiny his weekly pull-through.
Whatever you've got with this metal mopfoot is probably a fine and noble thing.
It is? Say, it's not every day I meet someone as crazy as me.
Have you seen any unsavory characters lurking about in the corridors?
No, sir, I haven't. But I've got nothing to worry about. What's that, Mr. Shiny? You'd take good care of the rascals, I'll bet you would. With a friend like him, I've no fear of oppressors.
It must be a great comfort.
He is.
See you later.
Yeah, take care now.
Maybe the face of the unaccountably happy domestic had made me unduly suspicious. I mean, I knew it was only my imagination, but the water tasted, well, peculiar. I guess the water cooler was for the use of people lost in the corridors.
Oui, monsieur.
Is this ward J2?
It is, but you're not supposed to be here. We have strict rules about visiting hours.
Can't you make an exception? I've come all the way from California.
You must speak to the doctor.
I can't wait that long. What if he snuffs it?
You can't talk like that here. This is a hospital. You will have to leave.
Do you have a patient named Marquet on this ward?
Oui, monsieur. He is in the private room at the end of the ward. He has been placed in strict isolation.
You can tell me how my brother is, can't you?
Of course, monsieur. What is his name?
Jacques Marquet.
Let me see. He's satisfactory.
I was told he was dying.
Well, he is, but the doctor described his condition as satisfactory. That's quite an improvement on yesterday.
Do you know who paid for Marquet's room?
No, of course I don't.
Preferential treatment like that must cost an arm and a leg.
That's not my concern, monsieur.
Do you have any clowns on the ward?
Why, yes, we do. A professional clown.
I'll bet he lightens the place up.
Hardly. Monsieur Boissy has been in a coma for the last 3 months.
What's wrong with Boissy?
He was involved in a very nasty accident. A silly stunt involving a unicycle. His current condition is due to post-traumatic shock. It's unlikely he'll ever perform as a clown again.
It's an ill wind that blows nobody any good. Do you know Merlin of Gruber Electronics?
No, I don't.
Do you recognize this red nose?
Oh dear, I don't think he'll be needing that again.
Who?
Monsieur Boissy, the comatose clown.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I don't.
Thank you, nurse.
You may come back at visiting time, monsieur.
Thanks. When is that?
The second Tuesday of each month.
Hello.
Oh, hi! No whistling, right?
Right. What's the problem with Nurse Grendel?
She's uptight and twisted on account of a broken heart.
Oh, that's too bad. I thought she was just plain bad-tempered.
That also. By the way, sir, I wouldn't stand too close to Mr. Shiny's grease valve. If he has an emission, it'll take the shine clean off your shoes. Say, nice sneakers.
Thanks. Who broke the nurse's heart? Was it you?
Oh no. Talk to a woman, I wouldn't know where to start. My analyst says I'm socially inept.
Some analyst? Weren't you offended?
Not me. It's a comfort to have it made official.
You shouldn't take any notice of him. Everyone shines in their own way.
Yeah, I shine floors.
Take a look at this red nose.
Are you a policeman?
No, this is a clown's nose, not a policeman's. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Who is it?
That's what I'm asking you.
How should I know?
Take a look at the photo.
Yeah, okay.
Now, have you seen him before?
No.
Do you recognize this powder?
Is that dandruff?
No way.
It sure looks like dandruff.
It's plaster.
Ugh!
See you later.
Yeah, take care now.
I wasn't in the mood for shining floors. It was a classic example of functionalism, like an early Soviet spacecraft. I almost expected to see a dog or a monkey leap out. As I tugged the plug out of the socket, the polishing machine coughed, spluttered, and died.
Mr. Shiny, what's wrong, pal?
I wasn't in the I mean,
Not.
Dr. Stobart at your service. Hey, Benoit!
There's no need to shout. What do you want?
Do you know the nurse on Ward J2?
No, monsieur. This is my first day here. I can't wait to get my hands dirty. I was talking about treating my first patient, of course. I didn't mean I'd get my hands dirty with a nurse.
See you later.
Right.
Excuse me, sir.
You must be the new boy.
Yeah, I must be.
Well, stop wandering about and make yourself useful. Bernie, come here, boy. This is Benoit, my nephew. Can I trust you to look after him?
Do your own babysitting, Gramps. Who do you think you are, anyhow?
I am Felix Hagenmeyer.
And may I say what an honor it is to meet you in person, sir. You are on my medical wall of fame, right up there with Pasteur and Leary, I look on it as a privilege, no, an honor, to look after your nephew, sir.
He is fresh out of medical school. It will open his eyes to see a real doctor on the job.
I'll bet.
Show him around. Let him see some real suffering.
So long, Hagenmeyer.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Oh, hi. Is this Ward J2?
Yes, sir. The patients are ready for your inspection, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse. Well, who's first?
Monsieur Croquet in bed 2.
What's his problem?
He's been complaining of loss of consciousness. You'll need this, Doctor.
She gave me a long, narrow metal box and a stunning smile. Thanks. Hi, I'm Dr. Stobart.
Hello, Doctor.
The nurse told me you keep losing consciousness.
That's right. I've had the problem as long as I can remember. It's a real out-of-body experience. Like death, but not so conclusive.
I see. How long does it last?
Just a fraction of a second, and then I recover.
I might not have been a doctor, but I was formulating a diagnosis all the same. This guy was nuts. I know exactly what you mean. It's known in the medical field as blinking.
Is it serious?
Of course it isn't serious. It's perfectly natural.
But just think, 2 seconds every minute. Why, that's almost half an hour every day. 2 weeks out of every year spent in total darkness.
I don't have time to listen to this baloney. Which bed is Marquet in?
He's round the corner, in solitary.
What's the matter with him?
I don't know, but the men who brought him in were wearing masks and rubber gloves. Hey, you're a doctor. How come you don't know?
We doctors don't know everything.
Then how come you act like you do?
Do you know what this piece of equipment is called?
No.
Well, goodbye and good luck.
Thanks, Doc.
Hey, Benoit.
There's no need to shout. What do you want?
Here, take this pressure gauge.
Thank you, sir. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, keep it safe until I think of something. Hello? Anybody home?
Who are you?
My name is Dr. Stobart, and I'm here to steer you down the rocky road to recovery.
Dr. Monroe said there was no cure for what I've got.
Your problem is you stayed in bed too long.
Are you sure you're a qualified doctor?
You better believe it. What's your impression of Nurse Grendel?
She's a very efficient young woman.
Efficient? You make her sound like a vacuum cleaner.
I've no complaints.
The woman in reception described Nurse Grendel as a monster.
Well, that's simply not true. She's quite strict, but that's her job, isn't it? You've got to have discipline in a place like this.
See you later.
Doctor!
What is it?
You haven't taken my blood pressure.
I can't take a satisfactory reading while you're excited like this. I'll come back later. Hey, Benoit!
Yes, sir?
Are you ready with that pressure gauge?
Primed and ready to pump, sir. What do you want me to do with it?
Use it on Eric Sopmarsh.
Okay.
Rather you than me, pal.
Marquet?
Yes, I am Marquet. I've been expecting you.
You have?
Well, what are you waiting for? Get it over with.
I just want to know what I should do with the gem.
The Lachmar gem.
Yeah, right here in my pocket.
I thought you were one of the assassin.
Not me. I never inhaled.
So, you were sent in my place?
Yeah. You could hardly make the trip to Ireland in your condition. What should I do with the gem?
Deliver it to the Grandmaster quickly. Tell him that I have found the tripod right here in Paris.
What, you have it?
Not yet, but it's being taken care of. I hired a couple of stooges with a flair for petty crime.
Would that be Flap and Guido by any chance?
You know them?
We've met. What about the Hashashin?
Is more likely to have followed Klausner. He'll stop at nothing to prevent the reforging of the sword.
And that's bad, is it?
As for Klausner, he is gone off to Syria on a wild goose chase.
They have geese in Syria?
He has a theory about the location of the...
That's enough excitement for one day, Monsieur Marquet. What are you doing here?
Talking to this patient, of course.
Monsieur Marquet is my patient. If I hadn't my office to hear that...
Okay, I'm going. I'd learned all I could from Marquet anyhow.
Ah, there you are, sir. I was just coming to look for you. I finished with your pressure gauge.
Thanks, Bunny.
What's that noise? It sounds as if someone's having a cardiac arrest.
It's all right. The doctor's in there with him.
Are you sure he was a doctor?
Oui, monsieur. He showed me his ID. It was Dr. Braille.
There's no Dr. Braille working here.
He's an imposter! The door's locked. Help me, officer.
Stand back, monsieur.
I found Jacques Marquet.
Did he talk?
Yeah, he talked. For the very last time.
He's dead.
Yeah, killed in cold blood by a bogus doctor.
That's despicable. What kind of guy would pass himself off as a doctor and take advantage of a dying man? Was it Khan?
No, I don't know who he was, but it certainly wasn't Khan. He got away, out the window. Have you ever heard of the Hashi Ashin?
No.
Marquet said that they were his biggest enemy.
His biggest enemy was the bogus doctor.
Don't remind me. That guy was evil. He had wild, staring eyes like a dead fish. I'll never trust a doctor again. Do you think the assassin was responsible for killing Marquet?
I don't think so. He could have finished him off the first time. Besides, Marquet would have recognized him.
He was pumped to the gills with sedatives. He wouldn't have recognized the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse unless they'd introduced themselves. Can you think of any use for this?
That's a thing for measuring blood pressure, isn't it? What are you doing with that?
I picked it up in the hospital. It could be useful.
You ought to take it back. Don't you feel guilty?
No. I guess I'd better go back and talk to that weirdo.
Which one, Rousseau or Sergeant Mou? Oh, but you're referring to André.
I'll let you work it out.
You have left it very late, monsieur.
Late for what?
Anything. I am closing the museum soon. You wouldn't like to get locked in. I can tell you. Not in this gallery.
Why not?
It is haunted, monsieur.
You don't believe in ghosts, surely.
Oh, yes, I do. 7 years ago, a lad managed to hide in here. He'd made a bet with his friends, I suppose. When I found him in the morning, he was cold as ice and stiff as a board.
Well, what was the cause of death?
They said it was a brain tumor. But on his face was a look of stark, desperate terror such as I have never seen before.
Scary. Forget it. I beg your pardon. Are you André Lobineau?
That's me. You want my autograph?
No, I was told you may be able to help me.
Help?
My name is George Stobart. I'd like your professional opinion.
Well, okay, shoot.
Does the name Montfaucon mean anything to you?
Sure, it was the most grisly spectacle in Paris until the Revolution.
A public toilet?
Montfaucon was the place of execution for many thousands. A dark temple of death, with row upon row of arches, each one framing a grim exhibit. Scores of rotting corpses swung on creaking rope, while the crows devoured their flesh.
That explains the image of the hanged man. I found a reference to Montfaucon in Ireland, in a village called Lochmarn.
Lochmarn? That's where Pegram was digging.
That's right. He'd left the excavation before I arrived. Where was the site of Montfaucon?
To the northeast, near the Canal Saint-Martin, but there's nothing there now. The old gibbet was torn down during the Revolution.
Do you know Pegram well?
Not really. I met him at a conference. I would have liked to talk to him in depth, but I didn't have time.
When was this?
Oh, back in the summer, July, I think.
The second week of July?
Maybe. Yes, it was, just before Bastille Day.
So Pegram was in Paris at the same time as the other victims.
Pardon? Victims of what?
Nothing. Just thinking aloud. Have you ever heard of the Hashashin?
Why, yes. It was a radical Muslim sect whose name became synonymous with murder. It was formed in 11th century Persia, shortly before the Crusades.
At roughly the same time as the Templars.
Yes, they gave a new word to our language. Assassini, the assassins.
How did the assassins get their name?
From the legends surrounding the secrets of their initiation rites. A young man who sought to join the sect was given hashish until he drifted into dreams. He awoke to find himself in a fabulous garden with everything he could wish for. The freshest water, the most delicious food, the choicest hash, and the most delectable women imaginable.
Cool. Do you have the address?
I haven't finished the story. There was a price to pay for this taste of paradise.
Wouldn't you just know it?
The young man would wake the next day to find himself back in the real world. He was told that he'd been given a glimpse of the heaven reserved for holy martyrs. A heaven he would enjoy for eternity if he was willing to join the Hashashin.
How did the assassins operate?
Well, as I explained, the new recruits would be only too willing to die for the cause. They'd be instructed in the use of the dagger, poisons, and disguise. Then the Grand Master of the sect would name an enemy of Allah.
And they'd stop at nothing to eliminate that enemy.
You got it. They were fearless and deadly.
Does the cult of the assassins still exist?
Take a look around at the world today. You tell me.
I think you ought to know that the tripod is going to be stolen.
The Lochmarn tripod? No.
It's true. I can give you a description of the thieves.
Before the supposed event has taken place?
I heard them planning the raid.
They're wasting their time. The tripod is protected by a state-of-the-art alarm system.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you. Why don't you loan the tripod to me for safekeeping?
Because I'd never see it again.
Well, don't you trust me?
It's not a question of trust, George. That tripod is hundreds of years old and extremely fragile.
I get your point. I'd like your opinion on a medieval manuscript.
Vraiment? Do you have it with you?
No, it's too fragile. And besides, There are certain people who'd stop at nothing to get their hands on it.
Intriguing. Do you have a copy of the text?
There isn't much, only a few Latin phrases. I was kind of hoping you'd help decipher the pictures.
Without seeing the manuscript, that's a tall order.
Just tell me one thing. What does the image of two men riding on the same horse suggest to you?
The Knights Templar. Does the Templar seal appear on this manuscript? I'd love to see that for myself.
Can you tell me anything about the Knights Templar?
I sure can, Georgie. Soldiers, diplomats, mercenaries, monks, bankers, you name it, the Templars fit the bill. The greatest fighting force in Christendom, the militia of Christ.
Jeez. How did the Templars get their name?
From the building in which they set up their headquarters. The King of Jerusalem gave them part of a mosque on the Temple Mount. It was said to have been the site of the original Temple of Solomon. The order became known first as the Knights of the Temple, and later as the Knights Templar.
You're a mine of information, André.
Glad to be of help, Georgie.
How come the Templars became so wealthy?
There was a constant stream of new recruits to their ranks, many from noble families. They were required to swear a sacred oath of poverty, chastity, and obedience. So, their money, goods, and lands were donated to the order. The Templars soon held land in France, Scotland, England, Spain, most of Europe, in fact. The poor Knights of Christ became the wealthiest power in Christendom.
Is it true the treasure of the Knights Templar was never found?
Who knows? So little knowledge of what really happened remains. Or, if it does, the truth has never been made public.
What do you mean by that?
The Templars have attained mythological status, like the King Arthur of the Britons. There are people even now who say the Templars still exist.
Do you think that's likely?
No, not for a minute.
The manuscript is being looked after by a friend.
In Paris?
Yeah, not far from here, in fact.
Well, just give me the address and I'll come round and take a look.
I'm not so sure about that. Maybe I should check with her first.
A female friend?
Yeah, she's a woman. Maybe it was my imagination, but I noticed a predatory look in his eye. Suddenly, this friendly historian had turned into the big bad wolf. This friend who has the manuscript?
Oui, the anonymous girlfriend.
She lives at 361 Rue Jarry.
Ah, I know it well. I'll drop by, just as soon as I can.
What do you make of this?
It's the biggest gemstone I've ever seen. Where did you get it?
From Professor Pegram's messenger boy.
Did Pegram find this on his dig?
Yeah, the site where this was found was a Templar castle. Do you think it could be part of the Templar treasure?
No, I shouldn't think so.
Thanks for your help, André.
You're welcome.
Eh, no! No, monsieur. No.
What's wrong?
You must not enter the exhibit.
I'm... Hi.
Hello, George.
Labino explained who the Hashashin were.
Yeah?
The cult of the assassins.
Oh, boy!
Have you found out any more about the Knights Templar?
Yes, I have. The guy responsible for the downfall was Philippe IV, the King of France, otherwise known as Philippe le Bel. Well, he is known to history as Philippe the Fair, but I doubt if the Templars called him that. I'm sure André will tell you all about him.
I have to go.
Okay.
Excuse me, officer.
And how may I help you?
What do you know about the Knights Templar?
Les Templiers. Only that they were excommunicated in 1312 and hanged in their dozens within this very square.
Boy, what they teach in the police academy these days.
No, monsieur. I read it on that board over there.
Shouldn't you be off directing traffic or something?
You have seen the Parisian traffic, no?
Yeah, so?
I could direct the traffic, the most dangerous, the east side of Rome. Or I can sit here and enjoy the sun, the architecture, and the so-so Sauvignon. Which would you choose?
Yeah, but I'm not a policeman. What happened to duty?
An excellent question, monsieur.
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur. I'll be there.
An architectural echo of the gallows that once used to stand here. And the leaf mold that was collecting there just wasn't... An ornate fountain stood in one corner of the square. I'd have to come by here in the summer to see it working. Waiting in prayer for the judgment day. A statue of a knight holding a staff and a scroll. A huge stained glass window formed a magnificent centerpiece for its neighbors. A stone knight lay in full stone armor, blank eyes looking at the ceiling. Hi, André.
Hello, Georgie.
What can you tell me about Philippe le Bel?
He was responsible for the extermination of the Knights Templar.
I know that, but why was Philip so hot to get rid of them?
Mostly because he wanted to get his hands on their treasure. He had an enormous debt and a lifelong war with England to fund. The trouble was, the Templars were a highly respected holy order.
If the Templars were so powerful, how did this Philippe dude wipe them out?
By underhanded, dishonorable means, of course. The Pope was Clement V, a Frenchman.
French, huh? Handy for Philippe.
Fate had nothing to do with it. He was Philippe's puppet, planted to further his political ambitions. Philippe wanted the wealth of the Templars and used Clement to get it.
So what was Philippe's plan? What happened?
Sealed orders were sent out all over France, not to be opened until the appointed day. That day was Friday, July 13th. That's the origin of our superstition regarding that date. At dawn, throughout the whole of France, the Templars were arrested. It was the biggest bust in the history of the world.
What happened to the Templars after their arrest?
Philippe was out for blood, so he handed the Templars over to the Inquisition. Not surprisingly, they confessed to a sensational and sordid list of blasphemies.
Like what?
Oh, the sort of things you read about in the gutter press. Devil worship, lewd sexual practices, spitting on the Holy Cross, that kind of thing.
Well, that must have given their lawyers some headaches.
Whether or not the accusations were true, this was not good publicity. Most of the charges were probably cooked up, but so were the Templars, literally. Hundreds of them were found guilty of heresy and flame-grilled at the stake. They died protesting their innocence.
But surely Philippe had no proof of his charges against the Templars.
A man will admit anything under torture. The Inquisition fabricated some nonsensical demon called Baphomet, and then suggested to their victims that this was what they worshipped.
But they didn't have to agree.
The records show a Templar coming to trial with both feet burnt off. Fragments of flesh and charred bone falling from the stumps. What would you not admit to stop such torment?
So there was no truth at all in the Baphomet accusations?
Not a shred. Almost every victim described the idol differently. No, Baphomet never existed outside the sick minds of the Inquisitors.
So Philippe stole the Templars' riches, huh?
Oh no, they weren't stupid. The king's troops marched first on the temple in Paris, then to the Templar home port at La Rochelle. There was no trace of the treasure, and the fleet of the Knights Templar had set sail.
Thanks for your help, André.
You're welcome.
A metal rod attached to the wall was connected to the window.
Attention! Please do not open the window, monsieur.
Don't you think it's kind of stuffy in here?
Better stuffy than dead.
What's the problem? Fumes from car exhausts?
Not just that, monsieur. There's a new burger bar opened up across the street. The Laughing Buffalo.
So what's the problem?
They cook their burgers on a charcoal grill, and the fat falls on the open flames. The amount of organic compound and smoke particles released is astounding. Since they opened, local air pollution has doubled, and it stinks like a funeral pyre. That is why I keep the windows closed.
The rod turned smoothly, and the window above me opened.
It is closing time, Monsieur Lobineau.
Already, there just aren't enough hours in the day.
More than enough for me. I can't wait to get home and put my feet up.
Eh bien, see you tomorrow.
Good night, monsieur.
Hey, Guido! Look at this!
Quit fooling around, you moron! Get your ass over here and bring that flashlight!
Oh, Guido!
What's the big idea, you dummy? Shine the light down here!
The mummy! It's come alive!
If that's a mommy, I'm glad I'm an orphan.
Don't you... Dick. The right...
Don't even think of... You'll be... Do you?
I just...
It is...
All right. I'll be...
Good night.
Hey, Guido! Look at this!
Quit fooling around, you moron! Get your ass over here and bring that flashlight! What the... Who's there?
Let's get out of here!
And when I woke up, I was at the police station. Luckily, I managed to persuade Rosso I was innocent.
Poor Georges.
What a mess. I bungled the whole thing.
I don't think so. You made a pretty good job of distracting those two crooks.
Yeah, but the killer got away with the tripod.
No, he didn't. He's not the only one who can dress up in costume.
You mean... it was you who stole the tripod? Oh, hell, Nico. I could have been shot.
Those dogs are more likely to shoot their own feet.
I just wish you'd told me your plans. We're supposed to be in this together. And how come you dressed up like a pantomime cat?
Don't sulk, Georgie, please.
Oh, rats. And don't call me Georgie.
Oh, I really thought you'd be pleased. After all, we've got the tripod. Aren't you going to try putting the gem on the tripod?
I guess so. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
The gem fits perfectly, but what does that prove?
Maybe the tripod has to be in a certain location.
There's nothing on the manuscript to indicate where, though, is there?
Oh, by the way, I had a visit from André Lobineau.
Oh, yeah. I hope you didn't mind me giving him your address.
Not at all. It was lovely to see him again. He was over the moon when I showed him the manuscript. It's not often he gets that excited. He made a sketch of the knight's crest to take back to the museum. I believe he's identified the family who bear that crest.
I sure hope so. I have to go.
Already? You only just arrived.
Time and tide wait for no man.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Hey, you with the balls.
Oui?
How did you learn to be a juggler?
Juggler? What is this juggler?
It's you. You juggle, that makes you a juggler.
No, I am a jongleur.
A jongler? What's that?
Mon Dieu! A jongleur is an artist, a master of the contragravitic aeroballetic mysteries. In centuries past, the courts of the crowned heads of Europe had the jongleurs, witty, erudite men to whom the monarchs turned in their hours of need.
Wait a minute, wait. Let me get this straight. Our enemies are at the borders, plague ravages the land, and the peasants are revolting. Thank God we've got Chuckles the Jongler to throw his balls around. I don't think so. That juggling doesn't look so difficult.
Oh, it does not, does it not? Perhaps you feel you could do better, no?
I'll give it a try.
Be my guest.
I had no idea what I was doing. But this guy was obviously an idiot, so how difficult could it be? A lot more difficult than I thought. That's how difficult. Still, it was my big chance to be derided by complete strangers.
Not so easy after all, is it?
No, I guess not. Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Hello again, officer.
Hello again, monsieur.
What do you think of the juggler?
Ah, he is excellent, most watchable.
But he's blocking the thoroughfare and obstructing traffic.
So? He is amusing, the traffic isn't. If he wants to block it, who am I to say no?
You're a cop.
Ah, oui. So I am. Ah, well.
So you're not going to do anything about this guy?
No.
He probably doesn't even have a license.
Ah, a license. This I had not considered.
So what are you going to do?
The instant I return to the station, I shall check.
Return to the station? Why not just ask him?
And spoil his concentration? What kind of a barbarian?
Does this red nose mean anything to you?
Ah, you are a clown.
Do I look like a clown?
No, although you juggle like one. Now, if I'd known you were a clown, it would have been amusing. And not a humiliation for you.
What do you mean?
Who ever heard of a plain-clothes clown?
He had a point. So you're saying that if I juggle badly with a red nose, I'd be the king of comedy. But if I juggle badly without it...
You look like a pathetic loon. Oui, monsieur, you have it.
I'll see you around.
Oui, monsieur.
Hi again.
Oui? What is it this time?
Look, a red nose.
Oh, you say, whoop-de-doo.
Hi again. I'd like to have another try at juggling, please.
You have gone on a crash course, perhaps?
No, I just had an insight into presentation.
Huh?
Allow me to demonstrate. The balls, please.
If you insist on completing your humiliation, monsieur.
Okay, now for my secret weapon. The juggler was speechless with rage. You could have mistaken him for a mime. And without a word, he collected his balls and left in a fury. Hey! You forgot one of your balls! Hey! But he didn't hear. Better still, deprived of his entertainment, the gendarme decided maybe he ought to do some policing for a change. The wall had flaked, and anything once written on it had long since gone. The inscription was hard to read, but I made out Templier and something about innocence. There were 3 arches, each with an inscription. Nothing hollow there. Hey, that's hollow! It was time for some brutal destruction. I'd poked a hole in an historical site. If any archaeologists came by, they'd lynch me for this. Close up, I could see the plaster was thinner where I'd broken through, and behind it were some cogs and a lever. Here goes. Hey, cool! Inside the hole, I could see one of the cogs had come loose and jammed the mechanism solid. It would take a blacksmith or an engineer to do anything with that. There was a crack in the wall. Through it, I could see a glimmer of natural light.
In the beginning was the end.
An end wrought by our enemies began our darkness.
In the end will be a beginning.
An end to our enemies heralds our new day.
Report. The military establishments are in flux. The end of the Cold War has left them with no clear goal and as obvious targets for budgetary cuts. We have successfully promoted a sense of betrayal in the upper echelons. They feel that the politicians have cast them adrift. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Good. Mademoiselle?
Governments are giving the corporations more respect than their own citizens. A groundswell of dissatisfaction and dissidence is growing. The corporations are becoming too large and complex for their own executives to control them. A blind belief in market forces is accelerating this trend the world over. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
The global population's belief in those that govern it has never been lower.
We have inculcated a sense of immediacy and action over forethought and planning in all the major governments. They are acting on hasty decisions that cannot be completed or revoked without appearing foolish. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Excellent. The tired old governments are dying a slow death from their own incompetence and our machinations. The millennium is almost upon us, and everything is in place for the rise of our new order. Almost. Professor, where is the broken sword?
As we discussed last time, with the loss of the manuscript, our search is as a corollary hindered.
And as discussed last time, you have been furnished with a dramatically increased budget. What have you been doing with our money, Professor?
We are working on the principle that the Templars, that is to say, our predecessors.
Hold on. These are the Templars?
Must have left a trail when they were hiding the clues to the sword of Baphomet's location. I have a small army of historians and archaeologists ferreting out that trail.
I trust these historians and archaeologists are more trustworthy than your friend Pegram.
Pegram was loyal. He tried to protect the Lochmarn gem when the Hashashin came near.
And failed. And don't call that Syrian maniac the Hashashin. He's an assassin. Plain and simple.
That's not what he believes. He actually thinks.
Silence! Do I have to remind you that we have a sacred duty? A trust? When Philippe attempted to destroy the order, we lost the sword and our power with it. Now we have the opportunity to reforge it. But time is short. We need results. Not petty bickering. Not excuses. Now, Professor Baphomet.
Yes, of course, my apologies. We will find Baphomet and the sword, manuscript or no. We have already found another element actually within Paris.
Excellent. What is it?
Well, we're not exactly sure at present.
Ha!
But I have my best people working on it. You would do well not to criticize others, Eklund. At least I have not murdered one of our own.
Of course. That guy was the bogus doctor in the hospital.
Marquet was a liability. Eklund dealt with him on my orders.
I beg your pardon, Grandmaster. I did not mean to.
Have you any good news for us, Professor?
We already know 3 of the elements. We know that Klausner had obtained the lens before he vanished.
Where was he?
Syria. We know that he arrived, but after that, nothing.
The assassin.
I fear so. It's a shame. Klausner was a good operative.
I could hear voices from the lit area. This was it. The conspiracy was revealed. Okay, nobody move. I'm making a citizen's arrest. At last, I had them. I could see the fear in their eyes as their little scheme came to pieces. You're all going away for a very long time. And you can just drop those guns. You're impressing nobody.
This will be our last meeting in person until we locate the sword of Baphomet. I hope that I don't need to emphasize the importance of finding it. Without it, our endeavors come to nothing. With the sword reforged, we will have the power to sweep the stage of all opposition. The new millennium will belong to us. The next time that we meet, it will be to become the princes of this world!
In the middle of the circle was a stump of stone, a shaft of daylight from the world above lancing down to touch it. The light, falling from above, struck the gem and scattered in 5 neat rays. And each ray picked out a letter. Starting from the seal, I could read M-A-R-C-H. I-B. Marib. Now all I had to do was figure out what the heck that meant. Nico, I've seen them.
Who?
The Templars. I spied on their meeting in the catacombs.
And you saw the Knights Templar?
I saw a bunch of guys masquerading as Templars. They're after something called the Sword of Baphomet. The bogus doctor was there, the guy who killed Marquet. The manuscript is the key, just as we thought. It shows the way to the broken sword, whatever that is.
And how does the assassin fit into all this?
He's out to stop them. These Neo-Templars, they're men and women in influential positions. Don't you see? Plantar was one of them. The assassin killed him for the manuscript, to stop them finding the sword.
But now we have got the manuscript.
Yes.
So, how do they hope to find the sword?
I don't know. They said something about a lens and a guy called Klausner who's gone to Syria. But they didn't seem to realize the significance of the very site of their meeting. You see, after they'd gone, I discovered a stone pedestal and a carved inscription. I set up the gem on the tripod, directly below a beam of light. The gem split the beam and lit the letters M-A-R-I-B.
Marib is a village in Syria.
Then the Neo-Templars are ahead of us. Klausner beat me to it.
You're not thinking of going there yourself, are you?
Why not?
These guys are crazy and dangerous. That reminds me, you should leave the gem here.
Okay, what about the tripod?
I'll send it back to André, anonymously.
Let's take another look at the manuscript. That's the tripod we borrowed from the museum. That's the gem that Pegram... There's a woman looking... There's a guy with a sword and a bull. But... Do you think I should go to Marib?
Syria is a long way, Georges.